Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Welcome to another video. Health update time. Had some bad news recently, which I'll get to in a little bit. It could be worse, but it's not great. I'm gonna survive, but I've got something I've got to deal with. I'm gonna talk about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I haven't posted about that on YouTube. Gonna talk about some upcoming convention appearances, a video game documentary that I was just barely in for 2 seconds, which was super disappointing, and just some other stuff. Going to talk about book update and games I've been playing and a fun cartoon that I've been watching. So check it out, guys. My health situation is not life-threatening, but I'll get to that in just a little bit. But first of all, shout out to my good buddies, Patrick Hickey Jr., an author, a good friend of mine, a college professor, and the immortal John Hancock. Both of these guys have been really good friends to me, and I see them at conventions and here and there. We correspond online, and both of them have been diagnosed, as they've come out with on social media, which they posted publicly, otherwise I wouldn't talk about this, that they both have cancer issues that they are fully confident that they will defeat. And so my health issue is not nearly like that. So just, I want to make sure you guys send good vibes towards Patrick Hickey Jr. and John Hancock. Great content creators, great dudes. All right, guys, I was contacted recently to be in another video game documentary, and this reminded me of a very big disappointment. Nintendo 64 Quest. Now, my big disappointment with this was I was interviewed for this for, a couple of hours, hour and a half, something like that. And prior to that, I had, brushed up on my Nintendo 64 history. Well, the documentary comes out. It looks cool, great packaging. It looks slick, like a slick documentary. I'm watching it, enjoying it. And I'm in it for 2 seconds near the beginning. I believe it was somewhere in there. I'm in it for 2 seconds and I keep watching. I'm fast forwarding. I'm looking because it's a really long documentary. And I'm thinking, okay, where am I? And I'm only in the documentary, this very long documentary. It's a series of episodes for a grand total of 2 seconds, even though during the interview process, I went into deep dives on the Nintendo 64, covering every aspect of it from pre-production and beyond. And I was just really baffled why I was only in it for 2 seconds. They actually came to my house and interviewed me. And so I don't know what's up with that. Now, I get it. I'm not mad at anybody because in Hollywood and just film production in general, this kind of thing happens a lot. Not every interview makes it into the documentary. Not every scene. Some scenes are left on the cutting room floor. Some people fully expect to be in big budget motion pictures and they're completely deleted from the movie. So I get it. I get that this is how this works. But for the life of me, I can't figure out why I was left out. If you had anything to do with the production of this film, let me know in the comments what happened, because I would love to hear about it, because I thought I had some pretty insightful commentary. So anyway, your mileage may differ if you were in on the making of this film. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, no hard feelings. I still recommend Nintendo 64 Quest, and they're working on Rob McCallum and company, Jay Bartlett. They're working on Super Nintendo Quest, which they've interviewed me for. So I hope I'm in that a little bit more, at least more than 2 seconds. That would be awesome. Anyway, no hard feelings, guys. Keep on doing it. Keep on making movies. There are a lot's been going on lately with my professional and personal life. And one thing I'm proud of that I recently completed was this booklet on Super Mario Brothers. Detailing this incredibly important video game that's coming up for auction. I wrote an entire history of Super Mario Brothers, pretty deep dive, over 4 pages. And then I wrote about the significance of this copy that's coming up for auction, really high grade, early production, gloss sticker, and all that good stuff. And it's being paired with a control deck for the NES. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun to write. And if you didn't know, I'm the lead video game cataloger at Heritage Auctions and do a lot of writing projects for the company. They're not sponsoring this video. I just thought I would show that to you guys. And speaking of writing projects, I've got 2 articles in the latest issue of Old School Gamer magazine. one on the Odyssey 2, and one on Time Rift Arcade, the arcade co-owned by my good buddy 8-Bit Guy. So yeah, that's pretty cool, pretty exciting. Now guys, I've been wanting to talk to you about the Super Mario Brothers, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, because I actually thought it was a lot of fun. I saw a lot of hatred for it online about how it's shallow, about how there's not much story, about the abrupt ending, which I agree with. All those things are true. It was shallow. It had an abrupt ending. There wasn't a lot of depth to the characterizations. You know, there's a lot better animated movies like from Pixar and Disney and everything. You know, watch something like WALL-E or The Lion King. These are just masterpieces with a lot of emotional weight. The Super Mario Galaxy movie was not such a movie, but I still highly recommend it because I had so much fun watching it. I was there for the fan service. I was there for the references to Rob. I was there for the references to the Super Scope on the Super NES, to the Super Mario Sunshine references. I just thought it was a lot of fun. It was cool to see Rosalina, and there was the big reveal with that. And yes, by now I'm sure you've heard that Star Fox was in the movie. I wish Nintendo wouldn't have spoiled that before the film. It would have been more exciting. But that was probably the coolest part of the movie, was Star Fox, aka Han Solo. In this movie, at least he had that kind of, you know, rogue persona. That was awesome. But I just thought the movie was funny. I liked just the constant references. I liked that it was action-packed. It was quickly paced. And some people thought, you know, certain elements were random that they threw in. And yeah, they did squeeze a lot into the movie, different characters and things. But I liked it. I just enjoyed it. And I actually saw it twice. The first time I saw it was because I went to go see it with my coworkers. I didn't have to, but I felt obligated to see it both with my coworkers and with my family, my wife and kids, because, you know, I'm not going to miss out on a cool work hang where we went and ate some awesome Japanese food. And I'm certainly not going to skip out on my family to see the movie. So I saw the movie on the Friday night that it opened, you know, that opening week. And then again on that Saturday morning. And I had just as much fun watching it Saturday morning, if not more fun. So the first time I watched it, I could just sit back and really, you know, focus on the story and just, it's new to me and everything and just what's going on. Yeah, it was just, you know, rescuing the princess. Mario doesn't get much deeper than that. But anyway, you know, I was just kind of taking it in and it was fun. But then the second time I watched it, I could really take in all the different visuals, all the different character and game references and everything that was happening at such a blitzkrieg pace. And I just enjoyed the heck out of it. And I'm going to pick it up on Blu-ray. And for those of you who just couldn't stand it, that's fine, because you might want something more from your Mario movies. I'm not sure what fell back there. Anyway, you might want something more from your cartoon movies, and I totally get it. There's some brilliant masterpieces out there, like Beauty and the Beast, like Little Mermaid, like so many others. But Super Mario movie, it's just fun, and there were a lot of references. What more can you ask for? At least that was my thought going in. Now, was it as good as Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Probably not as funny, but I think I enjoyed it just as much. And I've been playing Super Mario Galaxy. Now, they only small references, short references to Super Mario Galaxy in the film, but I think it's pretty cool that they named it after this great game in the series. And my wife even played this game to get ready for the movie, so that was pretty awesome. All right, guys, what else have I been up to? I've been invited recently to several gaming conventions. I pitched a panel idea to the Midwest Gaming Classic, I believe, on the Crash. I can't remember. I've got several panel ideas. So I'll be at the Midwest Gaming Classic April 24th through the 26th, and I will have a booth there, so be sure and look for me there if you just want to come by and say hello. I'll be at Texas Frightmare Weekend, and the Midwest Gaming Classic is in Milwaukee, and that's a lot of fun. It'll be like my third or fourth time going. I can't wait. And then the Texas Frightmare Festival, which I'm covering for YouTube and on social media and on my website and everything, Texas Frightmare, that's going to be awesome. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area at the Irving Convention Center, May 22nd through 23rd. That's going to be great. And I will go that Friday night and that Saturday. But guys, the 24th, I will be at Retropalooza in Fort Worth. They have no interest in me as a guest, and that's perfectly fine. They lean more into popular YouTubers and some of their, some of their little click and all that. That's perfectly fine. I like to go to the show. It's just fun to look around, check out the games. It's got that great swap meet vibe, and I'll see some of my friends like 8-Bit Eric and My Retro Life, Tyler Esposito, and Nintendo's going to be there. Retro Rick, so cool. Retropalooza is always a ton of fun. And, it's kind of cool not to be a guest at the show because I can just go there and have fun. So that's actually kind of nice for a change to just go to a convention just to have fun. Of course, I will be filming and I will probably get some interviews in. So I'll be kind of working too. So anyway, guys, I'm doing several more shows throughout the year. Classic Game Fest and Utah Retro Game Expo. And a little show in Texas called Retro South, which I'll give you guys more info here upcoming. It's later in September, I believe. It's later in the year, so I'll talk more about that later. Now, guys, what games have I been playing recently? Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden Black, because I'm working on my next 100 Greatest book, so I'm getting a refresher course on that incredible game. Just brutal action, awesome third-person hack and slash. My favorite modern genre is the 3D third-person hack and slash game like God of War, Maximo, Ghost of Glory, Shinobi, and all those fantastic games. I love those. The Shinobi remake. Now, while I had my Xbox on, I've been playing some Tecmo Classic Arcade, specifically Rygar, the original arcade version, which is very different than the NES port, which was more adventure-based. The arcade version is just more straight up action. I've been playing Pleiades, the sequel to Phoenix. It's a fantastic fixed screen shooter. I love that. Everybody knows about Phoenix, but Pleiades, a much more obscure game. Maybe because the title, it's just a weird title. And it just didn't get nearly the distribution or promotion that Phoenix did. I've been playing Bomb Jack. I remember back in the day at Toys R Us, checking out Mighty Bomb Jack on the aisles and really wanting that game. And the Toys R Us I went to, they would never, you guys know me, I like a bargain. I'll usually wait and buy a game till there's some kind of discount or they mark it down a little bit. And I would look at Mighty Bomb Jack up there and they would never bring that price down. And I was like, come on, guys. And it stayed at a super high price. So I didn't get Mighty Bomb Jack till years later. It's a great game, and the original Bomb Jack as well. Great action title. And I've been playing a game called Senjayo. It's just a shooter. It's kind of dodge and shoot, has kind of a 3D look to it, kind of a pseudo 3D effect based on an arcade classic. It's not super deep, it's not great, but it is a fun score chasing game. I've been having a lot of fun with that. And guys, what I've been watching lately, I've been watching a ton of stuff, just a movie here and there. I saw what movie was that I saw the other night? Hail Mary, the Hail Mary movie, the science fiction movie with Ryan Gosling. That was really deep. That was fun. That was sort of a science fiction movie with a heart. I love that. That was great. Gave me E.T. vibes, sort of. I mean, it's not really similar to the movie, but I got that same kind of warm fuzzies. And guys, on Disney Plus, I have been watching Spider-Woman. Who remembers this old Marvel cartoon? Of course, I've got my collection with these really cool, incredibly cool VHS copy. How cool are these? But the series is running on Disney Plus, which is where I've been watching it. You get a much clearer copy of it. But guys, this is a really fun show. There's only a few, maybe 13 or 15 episodes. I can't remember how many. I think 13. There aren't that many episodes, but it's fun. The artwork is beautiful. And guys, there was a couple of episodes I watched that had such rip-offs. It was a sort of late 70s show, I believe. I don't remember exactly when it came out. But anyway, there's one bad guy that his makeup is just like Gene Simmons, almost to a T. You got to love just the straight-up rip-offs. And there's this group of, armed guys that are suspiciously fuzzy and furry. And they definitely look like Chewbacca, just a group of them. So yeah, kind of lazy on the artist part, but still it's a super fun show. All right, guys, let's get to the knee problem. That's my health issue is, a little over 6 years ago, I tore a meniscus in my right knee. And what that did was it was very painful. It made it difficult to walk, and it certainly made it difficult to run. And I was limping around everywhere. I went and had it looked at. And they said, you have a meniscus tear. And the reason I got this was I went bicycling with some friends of mine around beautiful White Rock Lake in Dallas. And they told me about the route. It was a good 25-mile route around White Rock Lake. Now, I rode my bike all the time, all over the place in Fort Worth. And so I can do that, no problem. The problem is, though, for some stupid reason, I forgot to stretch and warm up. I forgot to take it slow at first. I forgot to get limber, and I just took off. I started riding with them. And about halfway through the ride, I felt a little something in my knee. And instead of getting off the bike and walking the rest of the way, or just saying, hey guys, I can't continue, I'm just going to have to, call it a day, I kept riding and I just forced it. And I pushed and pushed and forced it, which led to a torn meniscus. Not the brightest thing I've ever done. Sort of like the man thing you do when you just power through it. Not smart. Anyway, I had a torn meniscus, and they gave me a steroid shot back then. This was a little over 6 years ago. A steroid shot, and said to wear a knee brace. Well, a lot of days I didn't even have to wear a knee brace, but I always wore the knee brace if I was doing, physical activity, which was a lot most days, because most every day I like to work out, get a good run in, or long dog walks, ride my bike, and play basketball and all that kind of stuff. So I wore my brace most of the time when I was doing that kind of stuff. Well, just recently it started hurting again. So I went and had an x-ray, and they said, well, we need to take an even closer look at it. So let's give you an MRI. And the MRI showed that I need to have surgery. And so apparently the meniscus, the tear, has gotten worse, and arthritis has set in. And this will be my first surgery that is not related to my mouth, not oral surgery. I've had some teeth removed and that kind of stuff, things like that. But, I've even been put under a couple times for, work on my teeth. But this is going to be the very first time I've ever had surgery, surgery, not just oral surgery. So anyway, on April 23rd, I go in, and I guess next week for them to, to consult with the doctor about what this is going to entail, surgery options or whatever he's going to talk about, just to discuss surgery, whatever that means, whatever that implies. All right, guys, there you go. Again, not anywhere near what two of my good buddies, Patrick Hickey Jr. and John Hancock, are dealing with. I believe they will have to have a surgery for what they're going through, to have the cancer removed, and or at the very least, I know Patrick Hickey mentioned he's having surgery. John Hancock, I believe he mentioned, radiation therapy, chemo. But regardless of what they've got to go through, I wish them the best. But anyway, yeah, just my thing is small potatoes compared to, my health issue compared to what they've got to face. But anyway, a little nervous. First time having surgery, not something I look forward to. And I hope the recovery process is fast, because I'm impatient. I don't like to sit still for very long. Once I've played a game for an hour, hour and a half, or watched a movie for a couple hours, I'm ready to jump out the window and get out and get outside and, move around a little bit, and then I'll get back to more, gaming and stuff later, because I can't sit still that long. Anyway, hopefully the recovery process will be short and the surgery will go well, but even more so, good luck to Patrick Hickey Jr. and John Hancock. Now, guys, a lot of you I speak to at conventions say, you have all my video game books, and that's so cool. I really appreciate it. What you might not have is the Arcade and Other Strange Tales. Check out that cover by Michael Thomason, another buddy of mine. It shows the KISS pinball machine very prominently in Mortal Kombat. That's because it takes place in a classic arcade. The lead story does, the longest story in the book. And if you think my books are nostalgic, you will love the nostalgia of the lead story in that book. Plus, it's got some other science fiction and horror stories and some essays at the back of the book and some fantasy as well. I think you'll enjoy The Arcade and Other Strange Tales. I will put a link to buying that. I'll put the information in the description of this video where you can pick up a copy, a signed copy direct from me. All right, guys, thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Thank you for indulging me in this video. I really appreciate it. It was good to just kind of catch up with you guys on what's been going on. I feel just like I've been super busy. Things have been a little crazy, and I'm hoping to watch Tron Ares next. That's next on my list. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Crazy, right? I hear it's a great looking movie, but not the best movie. Maybe the worst Tron movie. And anyway, you can let me know what you think of that movie and what I'm in for. All right, guys, be sure and let me know your thoughts on Super Mario Galaxy, the movie, and what you think of that. All right, guys, we'll talk to you in another video. Thanks for watching.